Hello and welcome to the Disc Golf Pro Tour on JomezPro. We are bringing you round 3 coverage of the Memorial Championship presented by Discraft, and we've switched venues to Vista del Camino Park for the final 2 rounds. We haven't switched commentators though, and we never, ever will. It's big sexy commentary, Nate Sexton and Jeremy Colling.
And let's get into the Grip 6 low profile. Calvin Heimburg leading the way with 2 consistent rounds so far. He is putting like an animal right now. Unreal scores. McBeth, he's been here a couple times before at the Memorial Championship and every tournament in the world. Obviously, he's the usual suspect. He's hitting the fairways every single time, essentially. Eagle McMahon, he's doing Eagle McMahon things. He's on the lead card. Obviously, the former champion of this event.
Look at that 63% C2.
That's getting it done. And Emerson Keith, obviously the breakout player from last year's World Championships. Hit that Texas heart, baby.
On to hole 1, par 3, 284. Triple mandatory to start us off, so you can't go big hyzer or forehand around. Player's going to go with a low backhand here, most likely, and just try to get that hyzer edge just a little bit so you can get a slide forward. The grass here, maybe not quite as skippy in some places, but this one you can get a decent slide forward.
Yeah, this is a hole that we've actually played most of the years in the past. We had a different format last year, where we were teeing off on what is now 18, but a different 18. And but we've gone back to this as the hole 1, and the triple mandatory is back, but the basket is elevated. And making a lot of baskets elevated at Vista del Camino this year.
This looks just perfect, slowing down beautifully. That's exactly how you want to start it off. Waiting all day to get out here and tee off. A little bit of nerves, I'm sure, and just to nail it. That feels so good.
Yeah, tapping on elevated baskets is always a bonus. I believe that was a Luster AVR X3. I think that's what he's throwing there. McBeth is throwing a Buzz. And that is a nice looking tee shot, keeping that low mid-range. That needs to slow down though. That grouse is so fast. And look at that, just like that. He's 35 feet with a comeback putt to an elevated basket.
Eagle lining up, I believe, an MD3, and I feel like when the chips are down, this is the shirt that Eagle
This is the party shirt. It's the party shirt, baby. That's going to go left side of the tree, but that scoots up a little bit. That's going to give him an outside look. Emerson Keith may be shorter in stature, but as we all know at this point, he is not short in distance. Ton of power, ton of accuracy, and a unique putting style that he has perfected. And a beautiful tee shot on hole 1. He's going to have a tap-in birdie.
Eagle looks to be about 45 feet or so here.
And this is really going to test that circle 2 percentage. Okay, never mind.
It's not going to test it at all. It's just going to improve it. Great shot.
I had mentally counted that out with that low ceiling. It looked like there really wasn't a chance. Had to push it all the way to the max and even brushes a little bit of the low-hanging limbs and didn't really affect it at all. Beautiful putt.
Paul from just outside the circle. And that elevated basket doing what elevated baskets generally do. Just making that putt a few percentage points harder than it would otherwise be.
Yeah. And that's a pretty normal score for the hole. I don't know exactly what makes this so challenging, but it only averages 2.95. I mean, that's not that low for something that's inside 300 feet.
That is surprising. Hole 2, par 3, 369 feet. You've got the out of bounds fence line by the apartment buildings up here, and then not a lot else. A couple trees here that guard the pin. A little bit of a hyzer play can be good. You kind of try to come in that backside. Also, flex forehand, a really popular option here.
Calvin seems to be lining up an eagle. That's a nice width. That should track behind those trees and get a little soft skip.
Oh, yeah. Catches a little bit of tree, but...
Yeah, the crowd doesn't like it, but that didn't really affect it too bad. I mean, he'll have to work a little bit harder for the putt, but it's right there. And eagle is flicking
some kind of driver. I'm not sure what this is.
Big flex. I love this. This is such a good shot. It might even get a little bit of a skip up.
Great shot.
Emerson going with a little bit lower line, but a straighter disc. And yeah, that will be a tap-in. Beautiful shot. This ground is so fast. And if you're throwing that right-hand backhand, you really have to be so sensitive with that angle. When that disc hits the ground, if it's got any angle whatsoever, it should shoot. And that was just real flat and nice. And
so perfect.
Yep. And Paul is lining up an onyx. Oh, goodness gracious, that's got to get back.
Whoa. Absolute grip block there from Paul, and that's over the fence.
I would say I cannot recall a time seeing Paul grip lock a shot. And
that's okay.
Yeah, that's
he
fine.
got up there. He's got the downhill putt. Not as close as I'm sure he wanted to be. Because he's still out. This for bogey.
How did that fall out? Was that left side? That looks so good, but what a absolute nightmare.
I can't help but think back to yesterday, hole 3, as we see Calvin miss a putt.
Oh, goodness.
Hole 3 at the fountain, Paul made double bogey. And then, I mean, it's just stuff we are not used to seeing from him. That is crazy. I would think...
Back-to-back days, double bogeys on early holes on the course.
And not difficult ones.
No. This is the third or fourth easiest hole in the course. I mean, it's in a way, it's a testament to his greatness in many ways, actually, because he had a double bogey on a hole that was birdied by the entire field almost, and he's still in second place, only a stroke back before this hole. And and whenever he makes a mistake, he's still there in the mix, and just wow, it's surprising.
Yesterday, he responded with about 35 birdies in a row. So let's see what he does this time. Hole 3, par 3, elevated basket, 360 feet. Basically, whatever you just threw, grab it again, because you're probably going to be able to make a similar looking shot happen.
I'd say that for 3 of the 4 players.
Yeah, well, that's still probably a good disc. I don't know if he could have grabbed it, though. He went over into that parking lot.
Eagle going for a nice high, mid-height forehand. A little skip to the basket. Making 360 feet look so easy. Emerson also with a great forehand. Choosing the wide natural tee. Almost every single tee on this course will give you the option of playing from the grass, and Emerson uses the width of the fairway by giving himself an extra 3 or 4 feet to the right and really push the entire width.
Yeah, perfect angle control there. Just a slight flex. Controls the speed coming in. As we said, Calvin going super high hyzer here. This might be leaking left.
This is leaking far left, and that is going to be somewhere in mid-circle 2 territory, and he's going to need to tap into some of that putting magic he had in the back 9 of round 2.
We're going to see Paul go to the forehand here. I'd be pretty surprised if this is anything but parked.
He is throwing Zeus, and he is not parked. But, yeah.
He's going to have a tester.
He definitely has a tester. That's outside the circle. This would be a big putt comeback. Just a bit low two times in a row.
Close.
It was a great effort. That is a great putt. If there's any player that's unaffected by a disaster, it's Paul. I really would like to see UDisc implement a bounce back percentage, something that we can access with live stats to see what players on tour are prone to getting a birdie right after a bogey, a double bogey, and turn that into some sort of statistic that we can actually focus on, because I think it's a very important part of the game. And if you're interested in that, leave a comment. Maybe we can share this with the UDisc people and get some statistics out there.
It would certainly be interesting to look at, something just sort of to measure the resiliency of our top players. I think most of them would sport a pretty good percentage, maybe better than average, that like an average occurrence, where after that bogey, I bet the birdie chance kind of goes up for most of the top players, because you got that focus and you got that fire to try to undo the wrongs that have just been done.
Hole 4 plays the exact same as years prior, but we don't have the grip 6 wall.
Yeah, there's a lot of out of bounds here. This is going to be safe, even despite hitting those trees. There's OB wrapping the entire pin. Really hard to see it, though, because it's just the little pin flags is all that's marking it. So we'll do our best to keep you guys informed about what these discs are doing. I think this is going to be pretty good. Whoa.
Oh, it catches the back edge of that tree, which is just, as trees do.
Yeah,
it gets bigger and bigger every year.
I thought he had gotten around it.
And just to keep you guys updated, we do not yet know why trees are, but we're digging into the research.
There's not been a lot of progress. Great shot there.
Fortunately for our players, we don't have to concern ourselves with such questions on a course like this, where a bunch of hyzers.
Oh, this could go.
Gosh. Oh no. Okay. Well, I spoke too soon, because wired trees is certainly in play here, as Calvin has got a grip lock.
That's our second just massive grip lock that we've seen so far this round. It's pretty surprising.
And I don't know how you felt out there on the course, but my hands were certainly a little clammier than normal. The temperature wasn't overly hot, but sometimes just the feeling in the air can just be a little bit more difficult, and the grip can play tricks with how you're feeling that day.
Emerson with a nice little forehand up to the basket. And Eagle did come up well short. That first look at his drive, I thought maybe it had snuck even closer, but gonna have to settle for a par.
Emerson's in on with his par, and Paul will pick up a two-stroke swing there, with Calvin taking the bogey 4.
On to hole 5, par 3, 340 feet. Mandatories on both sides. The first one being on the left, forcing you away from the path, and the second on that tree by itself on the right side, limiting you from going huge hyzer over the top. So you've got to go straight up the middle. Not a lot of out of bounds to speak of here, but if you do go long right, as you might expect, that tree will not allow too many putts to go in from over there.
It's very tricky on that green, and this will be the last of the birdie alley that we all start off with. First 5 holes, you really want to go 3 to 5 under is a good start. And the only person that's really got, Emerson and Eagle have got good starts. Try to push that start to 4 under.
Paul significantly right there. I don't think he went far enough for that tree to block him, but it was hard to tell.
And Eagle pushed this one wide, and he has missed the mandatory. At the third,
What is happening right now?
I wonder if Emerson's questioning his grip at this point. Just the three of the 5 hottest players in the world have got some grip issues early, and this needs to go. I don't think it has enough to get inside the circle, but he'll have a long putt. Calvin. Again, I'm going to hazard a guess to say that's an AVR X3. Just the way that it looks with the flat top.
I'm calling out Luster Rock 3.
Luster Rock 3, nah. Nope. I don't buy it.
Calvin's not here, so no confirmation just yet.
And it could just be an AVR 3. It seems like a little bit straighter than the AVR X3s I've thrown.
And here is Paul. See if this tree is any factor on his putting line. Not really, but he's quite some distance away. Outside circle. Gets some chains, but a little high, little left.
Wow.
And that's got to be one of the worst starts he's ever had at this course.
I'm
To come
sure.
through that first 5 even par.
I mean, if you had told me through 5 holes we'd be sitting here and Emerson would be leading the group by a stroke at 3 under par, I would have been just shocked by that.
I still am.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. Where I mean, it's the conditions, as you can see, are flawless. I mean, the trees aren't moving because there's no wind to speak of. I mean, little tiny gusts of gentle breezes maybe occasionally, but nothing that really affected the flight of a disc. But you know what happens? I mean, we're all human. These guys are human too.
Hole 6, one of the harder holes on the course here at par 4, 783. This one's got out of bounds on both sides of the fairway, and it's really tight, especially up there by the elevated basket that you're just seeing now down there past the pine tree. Players are going to go big turnover backhand, maybe big forehand for eagle possibly. Roller is also an option if you want to get really aggressive, but like I said, with OB on both sides, you got to be a little bit careful.
And there really are a lot of different options here.
And this is going to be a Star Destroyer.
A pretty good tee shot there. A little Sports Center music preluding the great shot. Top 10 nominee.
I don't think he's going to make it. But valiant effort. And Paul with the forehand. This is not something I feel like I've seen him do before on this hole.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely leans heavily on the Zeus for the forehand, and he trusts that disc quite a bit. It's good forehand. I mean, it's a good position. It puts him on that right side, which has a good serviceable access approach lane. Emerson going kind of halfway Anheuser, half. Yeah, that was definitely an Anheuser. I wasn't quite sure the stability of that. But it is so fun to throw rollers in this hole, but I didn't see many people doing that this year. At least not so far. An eagle throwing a pedestrian, kind of sawed off, actually. I mean, it's going to be a bit right.
Ooh.
That is close to the OB line, but yeah, I'm sure eagle is meaning to push that 50 feet further left.
Emerson, nice flattening at the top of the shot. There's OB on the left side. And that's fantastic.
Wow. That is a great shot.
That was probably 400 feet.
Getting it over those trees and under the limbs of the tree blocking the basket is a great feat. McBeth with a nice flex high line, similar to Emerson's, maybe even, okay, just a bit shorter. I thought it had a little bit more juice than that.
That's still a nice shot, though. This is not a hole that gives up all that many birdies.
And this is a bonus par 4, and it's hard to really imagine a bonus par 4 under 800 feet that's relatively open. I mean, there are several small trees in the way.
And that is out of bounds.
That is out of bounds. But there you go. You can see the difficulty right there. I mean, a green pinches in pretty tight. And I like this. This looks good. Oh, just not quite long enough.
Wow. So close. Eagle to save par after the out of bounds penalty.
No surprise. His putting is not the thing holding him back right now. He is absolutely on the pole, just striping every putt, and it saved him quite a few strokes already.
Paul high with that one from inside the circle, just barely, I think.
Emerson with a great birdie. The only birdie on the card. He's going to move to 4 down, and he is right there in the mix. Calvin only 1 stroke over Eagle and Emerson now. Paul falling only 2 strokes back of the lead, which is surprising considering his slow start.
Everybody, I mean, Emerson's doing really well, but some miscues for sure. And how cool of a thing is it for Emerson to be shortest drive and then just to go, how about this shot, fellas? And be closest one in there and take the only birdie. That's a pretty cool thing to be able to do on a long par 4 with players this good. Hole 7, par 4, 645 feet. This one's got that new Mando late. The last tree here on the left, you must go right of that. So that puts a big emphasis that hasn't been there in the past on making your drive stay out on the right side of the fairway, because if you wrap left with a bunch of skips, you're going to be pinched off on your angle. You're not going to be able to get left enough while still getting past that mandatory on the right side. And this is just perfect, I think. A little bit of edge for some skip would be the only thing that would make that better. But he keeps it super right. He's going to almost have a dead straight shot if he wants it from over there.
One thing you'd like to avoid is just that late hyzer towards the out of bounds that this is going to be pushing towards.
This is so far.
It's far enough that it can be a problem if you if you go too far left as well.
Point well taken, Big. You're right about that. You get that way up there, you might be able to go spike hyzer maybe.
Right.
But as you get closer, I mean, you're looking at little baby cut roller or something. I mean, it can get really awkward with all these mandatories.
I don't think he's going to be faced with anything too challenging. And Paul's kept this really wide. Getting good distance as well. That's ideal. No problem there. Let's see if Eagle lets out a little bit of frustration. That is smoked.
Wow.
That is smoked. Yeah, that's huge. Across.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's that little sidewalk is that's casual, and it's also an indication of somebody who can throw 500 feet, because that's basically a 500-foot range.
Yeah, probably a little more than a jump putt left. And we see Emerson, so good to be on that right side. Pushes it a little deep, but still a great shot. He's in position for another birdie.
Paul going with a get freaky zone. Shouting out to Brody Smith, who's here on tour making appearances and shaking hands, and it's a cool thing to see him in our sport. But yeah, you can see there, it's just a bit awkward. He does go high with the Rhino. crashes it down. No problem whatsoever. Don't hit your head, Calvin. Literally, you actually might on the cage this time. Yeah, Eagle is putting. Jeez Louise. That's so far. What an advantage that approach is.
Incredible drive.
Mm-hmm. And Emerson, with that putt, feeling pretty confident about a nice little donation to charity coming up. This hole is certainly a little bit tougher with that mandatory, but it's always been one of the easier par fours on the course.
Yeah, it is tougher, but it ain't tough.
It ain't tough enough for these guys as they pick up 4 birdies and grab the start frame.
On to hole 8, par 3, 360 feet, downhill over the water to this island green. You've got OB on that right side, as well as cart paths defining the OB long, or sidewalks, I suppose is a better term, not really cart paths.
You see some carts sometimes,
Maybe
man.
there could be a horse-drawn cart or something.
I've seen one there here before.
But yeah, these guys are going to go straight at the basket, most likely. Backhand mid-range, not a lot of wind to speak of. Forehand is also a great play here. Really whatever you need to do to get it straight over the water and just get down on the ground once you get to the other side.
Is that a putter, I think?
Oh my gosh, that was a fantastic shot.
Yeah.
Coming in chain height.
I don't know about you, but for me, this is one of my favorite kind of throws, just going slightly downhill. It's so much fun to be able to get that disc in the air and see the flight the whole way.
I'll agree with that. This is so overstable. Wow.
That's got to go.
Misses the tree, fortunately, there.
Yeah.
That was probably in the water if he hits that tree trunk. So lucky there with a little bit of an errant throw. He'll have a long putt to try to salvage a birdie.
Paul going Luna, Crystal Luna. And this is also drifting a bit left, but not bad.
Nice shot.
He'll be happy with that. Somewhat surprised with the calm wind to not see Eagle go with a big spike hyzer. But I guess in some ways he kind of is with the forehand, pitching in there, parking shots and taking birdies.
Calvin just a little bit left. Decent effort. Birdie for Paul. Starting to get back towards a acceptable pace here, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, 4 down in the last 6 is definitely great.
Whoa.
Emerson with an opportunity to tie for first place is off the top, and no flag stick or number plate on the baskets usually means big skips, and he's got about the same distance coming back, but connects this time. Calvin in for his par, and Eagle mosey on over and tap that one in for the birdie, and he will be tied now for first place with Calvin. And look at that battle now. We've got a just 4-horse race just on this card alone, not to speak of what's going on in Chase card. And these guys really aren't slaying the course in perfect scoring conditions, so I wouldn't be the least bit surprised if right now there's 6, 7 guys in the mix, maybe even more.
I think almost assuredly with the pace these guys are setting so far. Hole 9 is a really hard get at par 3 with all the water OB and also the path on the right side. The play, if you want to get there, is the high and hyzer. And I think we're going to see that now.
It's happened again. It does drop straight down. He won't be punished with an OB stroke, but that approach isn't easy. There's a low ceiling branch by the pin, and getting the width or the height right on that is pretty challenging, considering that grass isn't the skippiest grass. You really have to air it all the way into the pin.
We're going to see Eagle go huge forehand here. Oh, really huge. Staying outside that tree.
Wow.
Oh, and hits it. That is fortunate. That could have easily ended up in the water. That is big risk, big reward type play, staying out over the water that long.
What happened when it hit the ground? It
hit the tree.
It did hit the tree.
Right down. Yeah, it kicked right onto the ground.
If that doesn't hit that tree, he's inside circle 2 with the forehand play is, to get a look for 2 is awesome. It really is. Great shot from Emerson. He's going to have an open look at it from 55 feet.
Putting directly at the water might be pretty tough to commit to, but he's going to be really happy with that spot.
Calvin looking to be throwing either that must be a Star Destroyer. This is looking so good. Yeah, there it is. That's beautiful. A great shot. Good opportunity for Calvin. Love to see him hit a jump putt, or not a jump putt, but outside the circle putt. He just hasn't been connecting on these putts so far this round on the front 9.
So we see Paul line up the approach. Has to go with a lot faster shot than he's used to on this hole. Gets that into the circle. And you're going to see, if you're paying attention, you've probably seen that ankle brace on Paul's leg. And that's helping him out with those. I think he has some micro fractures is the term he used in some of the ankle or foot bones. And this is purely speculation, but I heard that the hardest shot for him to throw right now, the most uncomfortable shot, is that power anhyzer.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if that plays a factor at all, on a hole like this for him. I'm sure he would say it doesn't, because I think he feels he's capable of throwing any shot, and clearly he is. But I think that might be where, as Calvin just misses a huge birdie, that might be where he is feeling that injury most obviously. Whoa.
Again, a strange reaction on that was high. It appeared to be a bit left, but certainly maybe catches more than 50% of the time out of 100. You're going to see 60 of those fall in the basket. So that was a bit strange. And there's so many strange things that have happened on the front. Now I'm kind of like spinning right now. Like, not the scores we were expecting to see. No. Emerson, the only player playing bogey free right now.
And look at the UDisc leaderboard check-in. People are back in this thing.
The sprint turned out to be more of a light jog this morning, but maybe the back 9 we can turn some things around and see some hot scores. But there's a ton of players in the mix.
Wow. Come on back. We have the back 9 coming right to you guys. Thanks again to the Founders Club 46. Samuel, you're an animal.
You are an animal, Sam.
We'll catch you guys on the back 9 from Vista del Camino and the Memorial Championship presented by Discraft.
Big Sexy. We out.